Sat Sri Akal, Namaste, Adab, and a big warm welcome to another episode of Bhangra Music Podcast. I'm your host Meenu, and today's episode is extra special because we're shining the light on a powerhouse of talent, a voice that's touched many hearts, a true icon in British Punjabi music. She's not only built a name for herself, but she's also carved out a space for women in a male-dominated industry. She's a dear friend of mine, and today we're here to dig deep into her journey, her wins, her struggles, and everything in between. The one and only Sonia Panesar. Sonia, welcome.
Thank you very much, Sat Sri Akal, to all the viewers. Namaste, salam to everyone else as well. Just so glad we finally made it to here, and a real privilege. And thank you for that wonderful introduction. Oh my gosh, feeling like touched already. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you deserve it. I know that you've been waiting such a long time to do this podcast, and we're finally here. So thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time. I'm just going to go into it. So let's start from the beginning, Sonia. What's the first thing that sparked the passion for music?
Well, I know that recently I've done quite a few interviews, so people will hear my story maybe slightly repeated. However, I feel like your question is quite specific. What sparked it? So, the backbone is that I got introduced to music by mum. Through Shabad Geet Gurbani. I learnt to sing Gurbani, Shabad Geet, learnt to play on the vajja, singing at the same time. Took actual lessons on Indian classical music theory, passed the exams and things like that at a very young age. That's the first thing. And sidelining that, I also learned to play tabla as well. So I also did the exams in tabla. So I've got the rhythm and song thing going on side by side at an early age. Coincidentally, at the same time, we are a very musical family. So I was quite fortunate that, first of all my nanki, all my mum's side of the family, have music very much flowing in the genes. And Kuljit Bamra, who everybody knows in the UK Bhangra industry, is actually my mum's first cousin, so aka Mama G to me. And very fortunate that I think it was somebody's family event, in fact, maybe at his own house, when I was about 7 or 6 or something. And I did a shabad there and then, and he said, right, booking in the studio, and got me doing chorus work from the age of 7. What sparked it would be a combination of that, and then just seeing things on, in Bollywood, or seeing things on the British Asian kind of TV snippets that we had back in the day on our sort of standard TV channels, and thinking, oh my God, I want to be on stage. And there weren't many women, so it was like, oh, wow, I'd love to be me. I'd love that to be me. So I hope that answers your questions. A bit of background, but it's where did the spark come from? It was the lack of females, but when I did see one, it was like, that could be me. That's how.
And which female did you see then that inspired you?
So on TV specifically, Najma Akhtar back in the day, Sangeeta, as we've all grown up seeing. Um, I'm sure there were others. I genuinely can't remember any others, but Najma and Sangeeta were the two I saw on screen. I think Bamiji as well, alongside Esk. I'm sure she was on TV or somewhere, or maybe I saw them performing alongside each other. So that was another female influence. Not forgetting Kuldeep Bumrah's mum as well, Mahinder Bumrah, which everybody knows, again, powerhouse for Gidda Balhan Dio. But also, in my own family, all the women were singing loud and proud, having fun, and all in tune. So I was like, hang on a minute, there's a lot of scope and, real kind of a chance, if in the real light. So yeah, and I think, Lata Mangeshkar and all that's on screen, hearing their voices as well, it just kind of thought, well, there are women there, but we just don't see them. So I think it was just really kind of inspiring on many levels to say, oh, they do sing, but it's just there's something missing. And yeah, that's how it was for me.
I think it sounds like genetics also played a part. It sounds like a very musical family.
It really has. I'm very grateful to mum and her whole family's genes. Music, creativity, it's all flowing. So even in the arts generally, if someone's not singing, they're playing an instrument. If they're not doing that, they're painting, they're doing something creative, and it's all within in the blood. So yeah, sorry, dad's side of the family, but they're not. They're really not.
No, I'm glad you've got it from somewhere. I was going to say your voice is quite unique, I find. I know that you love your traditional folk music, but I think you've got such a unique style as well. I mean, I think you kind of answered this question, but what were your earlier influences growing up? I know that you've mentioned Bollywood and obviously you had a musical family, but was there anyone in particular that you used to listen to or anything like that?
Yeah. So again, so yeah, you're right. I have answered some of that already with the names that I've already mentioned. But I think what was quite unique was, again, in my early childhood days, there was very few radio stations. Back in the day, it was called Sina Radio in London, now known as Sunrise and things like that. But it's like Sina Radio were playing the golden oldies, and that radio station was blasting all the classics, be it Bollywood, Punjabi, Surinder Kaur Prakash from Musarat Nazir, Mahinder Kapoor from the male kind of guys. You had Muhammad Rafi, all of those that we're all very familiar with, all the popular names, but they had very specific kind of distinct melodies to all their songs. Like nowadays, I'm not being rude to anybody or disrespectful to anyone. You can't tell one song to the next generally because of the trends, right? But back in the day, everything was quite melodious. You could identify each song from the way that the instrument started or something in the way that it was. And I think those melodious, harmonious kind of tunes really stuck with me. And then sort of hearing, we as a music, as a family, we heard ghazals, we heard qawwalis, we heard things on vinyl as well. I'm sure my dad is very much a listener rather than musician or singer. But then later on in the teens or growing up throughout, so that was early childhood, but later on, a lot of you will know my younger brother, Bobby Panesar, also famous for his percussion, dolgi, everything like that. Now, he's just a few years younger than me, but that generation gap where I listened to everything traditional, he was the person that was born a few years later that listened to everything Western. So he was blasting things Western in the house. And so growing up with him and then his musical journey parallel to mine, I was quite restricted in many ways or very kind of zoned into sort of certain things. Whereas his journey, he's performed all over the world. He's played with sort of Asian underground fusion, so many different genres. And hearing that around me was like, oh my God, I could sing to anything, I could hum to everything. So I would say, to answer your question in a nutshell, all of that meant that I felt like I could put Punjabi lyrics, melody on any genre. And I think if you know my music closely, especially more of my original stuff rather than the covers, you will hear that versatility coming through in the way that I sing. So that's that, I think.
Yeah, no, I absolutely hear it, especially in your track Butterfly. I think that really reminds me of what you're saying. I can actually now that you've told me the story about your brother and what he used to listen to, I can kind of hear it in there because it has that modern vibe to it, but the words are very traditional. So, definitely.
Absolutely. And just to add, actually, I've just remembered, as you said, butterfly, you've just sparked another one in me. I also had a radio career, so I was also exposed to, oh my gosh, I was kind of running a station, a community radio station of over 90 DJs on rotation of all different genres. So we had house, we had drum and bass, garage, jungle, reggae, dub, and all of that excites me, just hearing the different genres of music, the different kind of accents and ambiences coming through. Some of it was psychedelic. It was really kind of above and beyond my head, like completely. But just to sit and observe and hear all of those influences, and Asian Underground was a big thing too at one point. So all of that combined, and also my love for things like Janoon, Hadika Kyani, and you know all of that. I'm just, you'll ask me who's your favorite. I don't have a favorite. It's music is universal to me. So all of those influences, and I feel very fortunate in the generation that I've grown up in, just meant that I felt I can put Punjabi melody or Hindi melody or anything Indian on any of those things, and that's really and truly where all of that kind of makes me a whole. The Punjabi folk specifically, with all the people that I've mentioned, and hearing that in and around our weddings and things in the house as well, in our families, meant that we were all singing along, and we're still singing them today, which is lovely. Yeah.
That's so nice, and I can see that passion coming through when you're mentioning those names. It's actually quite nostalgic. It's bringing me back to my memories as well, singing along. But I can see how much it means to you. I can see, the emotional connection it has with you for, each time you've mentioned anything. So yeah, I can see that in you. But what I want to know from you is there a moment where you were in a studio or on stage and did you know that this was your calling? Like you said that you were 7 years old and Mama G said that you're going to go into a studio. Was it that moment or was it something else that you knew, this is your calling, this is what you want to do?
I feel like um, I don't know what you've put me on the spot, and I know that you were going to ask this as well, but it's weird because when you actually think about it, music was already around me. Okay, so was it my calling? I don't know if that's a thing. So if I went from no music to suddenly being the only one singing in my family, maybe I would have felt what you're kind of describing. Whereas it was already around me, so this was second nature. However, you're right. There's a calling aspect of the inspiration of or aspiration of being on stage. How far can I go? That kind of drive and calling in that respect. I think I'm still finding it. Believe it or not, I'm still searching. And it's funny because a lot of people say to me, "Sonia, you've already made it." I'm like, not to me, I haven't, but to others, I have. And that's perspective. It's personal. But I think the calling has been for me that music has been my savior. It hasn't left my side. I'm very personal and emotional about things like this. I feel like music has carried me and healed me over the years, and I can't leave it. So call that a calling in itself. Um, it won't let me go away from it, and it won't go away from me. So um, I'm stuck with it in a good way.
I'm glad you are stuck with it.
Yeah, I am too. But I feel like there's a lot to learn from this journey. I feel like it's really shaping even who I am. The artist, Sonia Panesar, the artist, I get. But the person and what that's done, what music has done to me on a soul level as well, it's a lot deeper. It's a lot deeper. Yeah.
I mean, Sonia Panesar, obviously you're on a journey, and we know that, and I can feel that from you, and I know that you're saying you're not there yet, and you've got a lot to learn, but we all know you've recently won some amazing awards, so a huge congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Um, how did it feel at that point, knowing that you just said that you're still on a journey, but how did it feel being recognised in that way, especially in the UK scene?
Oh my goodness. So you can probably see it in my face. I'm exploding into emotion here. I need to tell you a little bit of a backstory before I answer that question. So I think I'm trying to remember. I think it was about 14 or 15 years ago. I was invited to an award ceremony, which was the very first time I was asked to come along, and I was told you will be. You have been nominated. You will be receiving as the only person for a lifetime achievement award, and that was 15 years ago. And I was like, wow, excited. And actually, I just had my eldest, and he was just over a year old. So there was a lot of kind of health issues and things going on, and I wasn't sure and confidence. I hadn't sung anything for a while, and it was like, oh my God, someone's reached out. It was great, but unfortunately, when I got there, I was dismissed completely, and I had the shock of my life to my confidence because I was invited. I prepared for it, footage, you name it, everything was collated, everything was documented. And suddenly I was not called. The event happened, and they said, "Oh, sorry, someone changed their mind backstage." And that moment broke me, confidence wise, 15 years ago. And I don't know how I felt after that. All I know is it was a very horrible feeling. Um, but fast forward December 2024, which is just now, and to know that I got nominated at the UKBA Awards was like, hang on a minute, this is legit. First of all, it's a regular award that happens. I've seen it. I've seen many of industry professionals kind of go there and really win, and by true public voting and everything like that. And I went there in the category of Best Female Singer, came back with not that, which was like, whoa, hang on a minute, what happened? But actually ended up winning a whole separate category, which is for being one of two female artists. Me and Veronica, both of us got the most Best Inspire Awards, so being inspirational for all our contributions across the industry. And that to me was beyond the Lifetime Achievement Award. That to me was the first time I felt seen in all my years of singing, of representing this industry. It's the first time I felt heard. It's the first time I stood up in front of the industry to show my face and say, hey, this is Sonia Panesar. So it came with a lot. And incredible feeling standing there as single mom of two children as well, who were there receiving that award with me and my family members. So how did I feel? Phenomenal. I'm still shaking as I'm talking about it now. That was the first time. And following that, I got two more nominations. I didn't get those awards, but I'm so incredibly grateful that for me, that one award has done it for me. If I win any more, get recognised for any more, I'm happy. I'm happy as pie, honestly. And for me, that was the first time, and it felt like the starting of a new journey as well for me, actually. But it felt like a great comeback for me as well after kind of stopping and starting my journey as well. And I've been working really hard over the last sort of 3 years specifically to really kind of be out there, and obviously with the whole changed world. So that award was very, very special to me, and I'm grateful to everyone that voted, everyone that, whoever considered me, whatever, everyone behind it all. Just thank you. It means so much more than just being a singer, you know.
And I think sometimes timing is really important, and I think this period of your life, I know you a little bit personally, and I think it was much needed, and I think it was there to seal the deal that the journey that you're on is a great one. Behind the scenes, I'm sure it's been tough. I know, it's an emotional journey. It's not just about music. It's a connection. It's that rural connection, as I say. Um, can you share what it's been like navigating this music industry, being a woman, especially when you first started? There weren't, if I think of myself from growing up, you mentioned Sangeeta, you know, there weren't many women. I think in my teens I started listening to more Singh. She came on the scenes, and there was yourself, but I don't actually remember anybody of our similar ages being around. So can you tell me a little bit about your journey in that aspect?
Yeah, so do you want to? I've got positives and negatives. What would you like?
Oh.
Let's go with the negatives. I'd like to end on the positive in this. So they have been negatives. So the negatives have happened over time, with different events. I won't get too much into detail, but there's been things like bullying because of body image changes. As women, we change shape all the time. So I've gone from super skinny to overweight to obese, and whatever the categories are, the labels are. It is what it is. But I've had children, and health has been up and down or whatever, but people don't look at it like that. They just see a body. And unfortunately, I have been body shamed to my face whilst on radio shows, whilst coming off stage. There was even a time I had issues with just facial hair. Women go through a lot, and there was a time where someone ridiculed me for that. I've even got a video that I did, a cover of Joe Camerarangla, and people didn't like what I wore for the video. Again, trolling happened, and they thought I was too big, and again, bullying happened. So internet trolling has really been negative, not just because I'm a female, but maybe more so. I don't know what people, I mean, and we can't make everybody happy, but that was the vision I had, and we portrayed it that way. There's other things, unfortunately, sadly, there is a lot of ego in the industry, and I have found in the UK industry, where people will side with one another. There will be cliques of people, and if you fall out with people, those cliques won't know you anymore. They will detach from you altogether. If you're no longer connected, therefore you lose fan bases, you lose professionals. But then it's taken a lot of healing work to realise that actually they weren't my true followers in the first place. If they really valued my talent and who I was, they would be still here for the work that I do, or for the way that I sing. Instead, it was because they knew somebody else. That's why they were connected to me. So that's not a true follow, but it's taken a lot of healing to kind of understand that. There's been things, unfortunately, there's a lot of sexual predators in the industry, as well as those on social media, fans and followers. You don't know what you're being exposed to. People wanting favors for stuff. I've had only a few years ago someone who said, want to work with you, want to collaborate with you. You know how this works. Meet me for you know what, and then we'll do a track. I'm like, no. And that's surprising in this day and age, still, sadly. And I'm touching on some real sort of hard points there, but there's been a lot of that, sadly. So how has it been navigating it? It's been ugly. It's been hard. It's been challenging. Even people you think who you are already connected with don't push your work. They don't pass your name on. They don't name drop because they're too worried about themselves. So it's hard. The other thing I've had to face is because I sing Punjabi folk a lot over the years, they're like, oh, you're just a sangeet singer. I'm like, what does that even mean? I'm a recording artist. Yes, I sangeet sing as well. I perform. I release songs. I've recorded songs before. In fact, if you look at my performing journey, I've already done the Milas festivals, huge things, freshers fairs, uni gigs. I've done Asian Underground club nights. I've done it all. You name it. I'm only just doing this now because it suits the phase of life that I'm in. It suits the musical phase I'm in. But to be labelled just a Sangeet singer, what does that even mean? So, unfortunately, because of that, promoters and event organisers look at it as, oh no, she's not going to attract anyone at the events. She just does weddings. No, have you tried? Have you asked me? Have I got a set? Have you asked me? Can I prepare something for you? You know, things like that. So there's a lot. There's a lot on a deeper level. Um, those are just a few of the negative things. I think the only one more negative thing is just like, I've been demanded, we'll give you a record deal if you wear this on the video. I'm like, no. And if I don't, again, they're not looking at the talent. They're looking at, we want you to look a certain way. So it's been hard. The positives are the ones that do see the talent. And there's a handful. And especially in the last few years, there's been some amazing people I've met. Not forgetting Gurjeet from my Mama G, obviously, and there's obviously people along the way from the early years as well. But people now have got more of an open mind and they genuinely want to hear a certain sound, and they've actually listened to my voice. They've tried to hear me in a different light, and they're trying to understand my voice. The people who have taken the time, they are the ones who have studied my voice and say, you know what, you can sing this and actually you can go really far. Those are the people I value. And they show respect. I walk through the door, through their studios. Oh my God, Sonia, the artist is here. That's nice. And people, they're on the phones, they're on video calls to other people. Oh my God, have you met this artist? That's respect. And sadly, that's only happening now. And I've been in the industry for so long.
Going back to negatives for 1 second, the funny thing is you're telling me about the negatives and then something that happened a couple of years ago, but it doesn't faze me. Unfortunately, our industry is still the same way, I personally believe. Has there been any moments where you just wanted to walk away from it?
I think the amount of work that an independent artist has to do now, let alone being female, it's so hard work, so much hard work. It's more than 24/7. There's a lot of work because, we're in the world of the web and social media and everything else. As what is expected of us to show up and be present is more than a full-time job. It's more than looking after your kids. It's more than everything else. That has been very exhausting to manage. And especially when the return isn't necessarily, doesn't equate to the amount of hours that you put in, okay? So there has been times where I'm like, all right, Jal, bas hogi, that's enough. Or I'm not going to put something out for a while. But then actually, there's again that Kira, that little ant inside me that says, no, you're going to be back. You're going to do it. And somehow I just keep going. So have I thought about completely giving up? I don't know. Maybe I've had a mini thought. A lot of self-confidence, self-esteem comes with that. because you think, hi, I'm getting older, or maybe I can't sing the way people want me, or maybe there isn't a gap for me in the market for that. I don't know what, and people's expectation versus where my goals are as well, they don't match, and that's a hard one. That's a really, really hard one when you've got a goal, you've got a vision, but it doesn't match what people are expecting. I've done a radio interview, for example, a year ago, just over a year ago, and I said, they said, oh, what's your biggest goal? And I said, I want my voice in a film. They're like, what? Ha 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 ha, and laughed it off. And I was like, wow, that was live on radio. So you don't believe in what I've just said. Instead, they said, ha 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 ha, and brushed it.
But hang on a second, haven't you already done Bollywood?
So I have sung as a chorus vocalist on a Bollywood track, Teri Meri Ek Jind, in the film Bulandi. The main singers were Kumar from Hira and Viva, who's also known as Alicia, I think, later on in the day. But I did the backing vocal work there. I've also done a kind of an ambient track for a British Asian feature, kind of independent film. And that was called The Winter of Love. And that was kind of covering specific themes for a purpose. And my voice is featured on that one as well. So I have done it, but I'm thinking right now Bollywood and the Punjabi films and Bollywood films a lot more. And who knows, maybe beyond that. But why not? But also being a chorus vocalist and being a main vocalist, there's a big difference. So I, I I have that goal. I have that vision. I don't know when or how, but it's a goal. Yeah.
No, and I'm sure you're definitely going to achieve it. I have no doubts about that. That's your goal, and just go for it, Sonia, because you are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Um, I was gonna say your songs carry a lot of emotion and a lot of truth. Is there one that's closest to your heart that tells your story?
So all the Punjabi folk songs that I do are already very meaningful. They date back decades of lyrics, emotions, and things from so many years ago. And I feel like I do deliver them in my own way, but somehow the passion and the soul comes through. But going to answer your question specifically, hint, hint, maybe it's the first time I'm saying it here. I think it is the first time I'm saying it out loud. Most of my original songs are personal. They are personal stories that I'm sharing in a poetic way. Most, if they're written by me. I think I did one written by someone else last year. Jandare was written by Basha. That was his story actually that I sang, which I absolutely loved. Again, there was soul and emotion in it. But Halviraba, which I released just over 2 years ago, it was a story about a young girl who had a crush. And yeah, and I wrote that in my late teens, early 20s, by the way. And it was my first, sorry.
Have you got a book of songs that you've written in or anything like
It's my list of things to do. I need to amalgamate, like I need to compile this list of songs and put it into an actual book because that was the first penned Punjabi song. And then obviously I composed it and then ended up singing it and releasing it. My first penned, I write in Hindi as well. So my first penned Hindi song, there's two actually. I can't remember which one came first. I think it was Sapno Mein. Sapno Mein was actually sung and released on a dub plate with oh god, they're major in the dub world, and they're called Alpha and Omega. It was on their album Spirit of the Ancients. So I did this whole spin of a Hindi, my own song, on the dub plate, and apparently it was blasting at all the dub reggae clubs for absolute. It was became an anthem in their world. Fantastic. So that was an early one. So both Halvira and Sapno Mein were my first one Hindi, one Punjabi penned songs. I've written many after that. Not all I've released yet. They're coming. It's as of when I'm ready to like, okay, that can go now. But yeah, I have, and so they are personal stories. I'm not gonna take that away. They are. I'll be the you know you can figure it out yourself.
that? No, no, I've heard them. I can tell which ones they are. That's where the question came through. Um, I think for me, watching you sort of grow the last couple of years, especially, I've seen you evolve, not just musically, but as a creative force. Now, learning from this interview, knowing that you write in different languages, Hindi, Punjabi. What's next for Sonia? What do you want to do next? That you're eager to do? You're that Gira that you spoke about. What does Sonia want to do?
Yeah, the Kira keeps growing, by the way. The Kira keeps growing. Okay, this might sound a little bit, I don't know how it will sound, but I'm just gonna say it. I want my voice on as many things as possible. And I don't care what genre it is. Obviously, I'm careful how I deliver what I deliver. It doesn't have to be just the UK Punjabi scene. It could be any genre anywhere in the world. Um, I feel quite fortunate, and this isn't a selfish thing or a narcissistic kind of thing. It's none of those. It's more that I feel quite confident that my voice does touch people's souls. And from the feedback I get told, I will meet people and they'll be like, they'll hear something like, oh my God, that's it, Billy was. Or when I'm singing at Sangeet nights, men will cry before the women will. I've delivered workshops in immigration detention centres. I was talking about this today earlier, actually, where people are in an all-male immigration detention centre delivering workshops on culture, where I've sung in Punjabi folk for them. They're crying. They are crying. Men are crying. Strong men are crying. And I'm not saying that's like a target or a goal, but it's if I can make men release emotions because they tend not to, or people that don't even know when I'm singing and they become touched or by the soul of my delivery of my voice. To me, crying, laughing, joy, any emotion is a release of something. Okay, so to me, if that means that God's given me this gift and by me delivering it, it's helped you, end of story. So I want to sing on anything and everything. Obviously, I've just mentioned before 5 minutes ago that I want to sing on a film track. That's 100% on my thing. And whatever else comes with that journey. That's it.
I think I think when I hear your voice, for me, it's unique because it has that traditional sound to it. You know, in Punjabi, you say it's a very soft, sutri voice. There isn't any sort of noise around it. It's just pure, and it does touch your soul. And I think when you say you bring out the emotion, whether that's male or female, I can really relate to that because it's a voice that really kind of, I'd like to say, goes through you if you can feel it from the inside. And I think that's such a unique talent to have, firstly, and you to be able to carry that into 2025 as well. I think that's a major achievement.
It's really not easy because just like technology, you've got to keep up with the times, right? So with singing, I mean, luckily with Punjabi music, it is so happening right now. Thanks to people like Diljit Dosanjh and all these, with the Punjabi language, culture, music, it's all still here. I'd be honest, about 5 years ago, I didn't think it was going to be here in the way that it is. But now we've got everyone doing Bhangra, everyone doing singing and knowing the lyrics. I mean, young kids, they know the words. I'm like, wow, this was not happening. We thought it was dying out, but it's not anymore. Plus, people migrating over and stuff like that. The language is still here. So, whilst it's still here, let's expand and let's keep sharing and keep enjoying. And I think what's lovely is that tradition is still there. The folk and all of that is still there. Weddings are still happening. And although it is changing, that it is changing a lot. But I think that with music and with contemporary sort of instruments and music and things like that, it still works. It still works. I mean, I'm talking from a performing perspective. Recording wise, yeah, again, you can adapt. There are some people who can't adapt because they have an iconic voice for just that way. If I can say, like, for example, Miss Pooja sounds great on Bhangra type beats or Gidda type beats, but if not being horrible to her, but if she sang something a little bit more melodic and slow, she would still sound great, don't get me wrong. But she's just more of a powerhouse on the other things. And that would be the same for me. Yeah, that would be the same for me. I might sound more powerful in my delivery in certain genres more than others, but I know that not everybody is versatile, and I know that that's one of my strengths, that I am versatile, and I think it shows through the tracks that I record and release. So yeah.
No, thank you for doing what you do. I mean, for young girls out there, so I met Sonia personally when she actually started teaching my daughter how to sing. So I think it's really, really important to have a role model like that. That's a role model that you've become for my daughter. You know, she wants to follow into your footsteps because you have that sort of sadgi in your voice, and you can kind of expand into different genres, and be that person. But for young girls out there that don't have a guide, how what do they have to do? What advice would you offer them?
I think first of all, it's really important to know, what am I trying to say? You need to know your why, okay? Why are you doing this? Is it for fame? Is it just because you want to learn the songs? Is it just because you want to perform somewhere specific? What is the why? Why are we doing this? Once you know your why, then we look at, what needs to be done in order to get those goals, okay? So if you are looking for that full flourished career, again, look at the genre, look at what kind of things, and that guidance needs to be there. I remember seeing something of Neha Kakkar's online a few years ago, and she said, do you know you don't need to be trained fully to be a professional, successful singer? And I was like, are you sure? Like, are you sure? But I can see why she said what she said.
Do you agree with it now?
So I would say you do need a foundation. 100%. If you cannot sing in tune, in key, in sur, as we say, you're finished, first of all. So you need to know the basics. So if sa is sa, you need to be singing at sa. If you're singing at ma, you're doing it wrong. You know? But at the same time, like, I know I did so much classical training as a young age. I could do all the alangars, I could do all the rags, dran, everything. And now I would say, times have changed, lack of rehearsals maybe, or just, limits in our life and things like that. Even mental headspace, these things, everything is a factor, sadly. And living in the UK, our lives are hectic. Most musicians have a day job as well as what they do, plus family life. So I would say for a female specifically, I would say, look, there's going to be a lot of things happening in your life, whether that's making a family, not having a family, and showing up as an independent female, whichever way around it is, dealing with society and their judgments, dealing with people and just the fact that you are female, and the objective, I can't think of the word, the objective kind of objectification. I don't know if that's a word. I'm making it up if I am, but you know what I'm trying to say. The fact that you are an object to the males. Sadly, you've got to think about all these things. You've got to think about being strong first. Get your singing foundation done. Know the basics. Even know the language that you're singing in. So, if you're, unless you are an R&B singer, your pronunciation is going to be different in Punjabi. But if you want to sing Punjabi folk, sing Punjabi folk with the language and the pronunciation correctly. Things like that. So I remember a long time ago I was in the studio and a particular singer couldn't say ba. So I was hired to come in and fill in that word for this female singer.
Oh, just for the word. Oh wow.
Yeah. I had to come in and say ba for everything that she said because she couldn't say it. And then they mixed in my voice with hers too. But she's still successful, and she was successful, but nobody knows that was the thing in the background that made it happen. So, but to be your own person, make it your own. You don't have to sound like anybody. I don't sound like anyone, and I know this very, very, very. They'll be like, oh, but you, no, I don't sound like Lata. I don't sound like Asha. I do not sound like anyone that I can think of. I'm just me.
You're Sonia Panesar.
So be you, right? Yeah, be you.
And I think for me, you've got Lata on one side, and you know we know Lataji's voice. You can recognise it, whether it's Asha Bhosle's voice, but then you've got Sonia Panesar's voice, and I also recognise that, and that is a uniqueness about you. So that's something I think girls these days, children these days, whether you're male or female, is irrelevant. I think just be you and not to try and copy anybody else. So that's a really important message. So thank you so much for being so open and honest today, Sonia.
I've loved it.
It's gone really quick, hasn't it?
It has. It really has. I feel like we can carry on because normally outside of this we would be.
Yeah, that's your 15 minute voice notes. I think your journey is not just because of your talent. I think it's because of your strength, definitely your resilience, and I think your grace as well. I think that's your uniqueness, the way you carry yourself, regardless of all the judgments and how strong you've been over the years. And for everybody that's listening, remember, just music is just not about the charts or the award. It's about the heart. It's about the story and the soul behind the mic. And Sonia Panesar definitely has a lot of soul behind that mic. So please keep supporting talent. And I will catch you next time on Bhangra Music Podcast. This is Meenu signing off. Stay desi, stay proud.
Thank you.